Hi everybody, how you doing today? This is Keith, another fantastic Star Trek review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the third season Enterprise episode Twilight. I believe it was the 8th episode in the third season. I have a guest reviewer with me here today. His name is Bosco. How are you doing today, Bosco?
I'm doing pretty good.
How did you like this episode that you viewed today?
Well, to preface this, people at home should know that this is the third episode of Enterprise I've ever seen. I'm more of a Next Generation fan, so it skews my judgment slightly because I'm not used to the show. It was pretty good though. I mean,
but as a Star Trek story, don't you think it was a very
classic Star Trek story? If someone had told me what the story was, I would have said it sounds like a Star Trek episode.
I'll give a little rundown of the episode for those who may have not seen it. In the third season, the Enterprise was sent into a mission into the Expanse to try to prevent the Xindi from destroying Earth. They know very little about the Xindi, and they're finding out things constantly. In this episode, we find out that their mission had failed due to a parasite that had latched itself onto Captain Archer's brain and gave him this form of amnesia that reoccurred every few hours. And so he wasn't able to complete the mission, and Paul had to take over, and I guess it didn't work out so well. But that's the premise of this episode. What do you think your favorite part of this episode was, Bosco?
My favorite part of this episode was when the Vulcan chick, the bad aliens, attached their ship to the Enterprise. So the Vulcan chick had taken command. So she swings the ship around and whacks one bad guy alien ship into the other.
Yes, T'Pol was her name. T'Pol, the sub-commander turned captain after Archer was incapacitated. That was a pretty cool scene. One thing I noticed about that scene was though that when she did that, it took out, I think it was their starboard nacelle, and but according to
I believe it was the port.
Was it the port?
Yes.
You know, I'm really not sure. I'd have to review it, but
it was the driver's side of the Enterprise.
There was definitely one nacelle that had gone haywire after that. They were not able to use it.
You want to make a bet? This port?
I'll take your word for it. I don't know. I would have to review it.
You know they're checking it out right now. They've stopped our program and they're going to go check the footage.
You know, I think it was the starboard.
Make a bet.
Make a bet? How much you want to bet?
$10.
$10?
I could go higher because I'm very confident. I could go up to $1 million.
I will bet $3.
$3. It's port side.
Starboard.
Starboard nacelles lost cause. Half the coils have been fused.
Anyway, you will agree with me that there was definitely only one nacelle working afterwards, but they were still able to create a stable warp field according to Trip. I think he said it was like warp 1 point something. I'm not even going to bet on that one because I'm really not sure. It was definitely lower than warp 2. That's all I know. And I always assumed you needed both warp nacelles to create a warp field, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm no warp specialist, so I don't know. I think my favorite scene in the episode was when Archer stabbed that Xindi with the statue of Zephram Cochrane that he had in his room.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That was pretty sweet. I mean, you just don't see that very often. He should still been a captain. Who cares about the memory thing? He can kick some ass. Well, let's see. What else? Any other thoughts about this episode, Bosco, that you can think of right now?
Well, I can tell you one thing I thought was really cool was the bad guy aliens. If you pay attention to their clothing, it's very, very crazy. I mean, come on. They're tall, skinny reptilian aliens, and they're wearing skin-tight, shiny purple mixed with like gray. It's very retro 50s sort of alien. Maybe not the normal like oval sort of shaped head aliens like the other aliens, the really bad ones would wear. And that's what they're wearing to let you know that they're the really bad aliens.
Yeah, you can tell they're the bad guy aliens right by looking at them.
Unfortunately, what I thought was a problem with this episode was the costumes that the bad aliens were wearing. It's very not Star Trek. It's kind of wacky in a sort of 50s retro sci-fi way that is not modern Star Trek.
Well, you do see those costumes a lot during the third season. I mean, they're the main adversary.
I'd never seen the third season before. Or the second.
Yeah.
Or the fourth. I've only seen the first episode and the one episode with the board.
That was the second season episode.
Okay, I've seen a episode from the second season. I don't really want to talk about it.
I believe you saw In a Mirror Darkly too. You saw that. I believe you watched that with me. Remember when the Mirror Universe and all that from the fourth season?
Oh, okay. So I've seen one episode from each season now.
So which season is your favorite based on that so far?
Not the one with the board.
Not the second season.
This season was okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Mirror episode, I guess I'm told I saw it. I don't remember. I remember the pilot episode, so I guess I'd have to say that my favorite season, based on one episode, is the first season.
That's an interesting take. I'm sure I don't think you'll have a lot of agreement in the fan community with that.
Well, I'm sure they won't hold it against me, seeing as how I've only seen one episode from each season.
And the only problem I probably had with this episode, even though it's really not a big deal, but a lot of people have a problem with this, was the episode ended with a reset button, which, is a criticism with a lot of Star Trek episodes, especially ones dealing with, temporal disturbances and whatnot, and in this case, temporal parasites. The episode ended, it's the same as when it started. There was really nothing changed about it. But I never really bothered me that much, because, it allows you to tell stories that you wouldn't normally be able to.
Well, it's one of those things you see from a mile away, though, because within the first 3 minutes of the episode, the Earth gets blown up. And you know that that's not really what's going to happen. So either they have to go back in time, or, something wacky has to happen. Though they did do it in an interesting way. They didn't actually go back in time. The parasites were not in our, how do you phrase it, time...
They exist outside of our time space or whatever.
Right. So, spoiler ahead, when they get rid of the parasites in the future, right before the ship blows up and everyone dies, because they're outside of our time frame, they go away in the past too, which creates a new timeline, and which leads us into the rest of the season.
What did you think of that twist where they actually had to blow up the Enterprise in order to save humanity, basically?
Well, it's another one of those things that is pretty common in Star Trek, especially if you're just going to go back in time anyway.
Yeah.
Let's blow up the ship to go back in time. Or repair the past so that we don't have to deal with this.
Did you notice anything interesting about the planet the humans settled on in that episode?
I do, but I bet you're going to tell me anyway.
Yeah, I think I filled you in on this earlier.
Con.
Yeah. You'll notice they landed on SETI Alpha 5, which sucks for the humans, because even if they had worked out and the Xindi didn't attack them, they would have ended up being destroyed in about 150 years. When SETI Alpha 6 would have blown up, as we all know would have happened. So, those humans, they just can't win. Sucks for us. Luckily for us, they were able to destroy the parasites and fix the timeline. Well, let's see. I think it's about time to give this episode a review rating. What do you think you would rate this episode, Bosco?
I would have to give it a rating of Warp 7, because I'm neither here nor there on the bad alien costumes. I liked them, but they just seem a little out of place in Star Trek. But for the swinging of their ship into another ship, that was pretty good. That was a Warp 10 decision on her part, even though she caught some flack for it. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to give it a Warp 8.5.
Warp 8.5. I'm going to go a little bit higher. Like I said, this is one of my favorite episodes of the entire series there. I think I decided on Warp 9.975, which I think not perfect. There were some problems with the episode, but I think it's easily one of Enterprise's best episodes, one of the best episodes of Star Trek in general, I believe.
So it's a Warp 9.1 if you combine it. If you kind of average it.
Is that the average?
And I don't really know. It sounds about right.
It sounds about right. Yeah. Well, anyway, like I said, third season Enterprise. Everybody check it out.
What's the official warp rating?
We're going to go with my rating because it's my show. 9.975.
Okay.
All right. Everybody have a good day.